Hi, and welcome to session 15 of your Divine Purpose Devotional. And this session is called Building on Others' Foundations. And this is a really key principle, I believe, for the apostolic. Of course, it's the Apostle Paul who wrote that verse to the Corinthians. And it's about every one of us taking our place in this incredible line of the apostolic. And as you know, I'm not calling you an apostle, but I am saying that every one of us is apostolic, and learning to build on the foundations of those that have gone before is vital. None of us land on this planet alone. All of us are connected to the past generations and to the generations that are to come. One of the challenges of life is that we can very often dismiss those who've gone before, perhaps because they didn't end well or in some way they were flawed. And I would suggest that that is a huge mistake. Of course, the truth is that our Bibles contain, men in particular who didn't end well, and yet they are in our Bibles. And what's really important is that every one of us, I believe, learns to eat the meat and spit out the bones. So this principle of building on foundations, and of course it's linked to apostles and prophets are the foundations. And what does that mean? We've covered it before, but it's not about hierarchy. It's not about, as it were, being first. It's that when you lay a foundation, it's the first thing that you put in place, and everything else is built upon it. So I really want to encourage you with this to look at what you're building on, what foundations you are building on from those that have gone before. And, sometimes we don't get to see the fruit. I visited the wonderful Sagrada Familia in Barcelona a few years ago, and I plan on visiting again. And, the man who designed that will not see its completion. In fact, many generations have contributed to that building. And of course, historically, that was the way things were built. It's only really recently that we see huge projects or even businesses built in one generation. Many family businesses were passed down from one to the next. And so really the connection with our divine purpose and finding out what we're building on, what we're connected to. It's one of the big keys for me when I look at strategic planning and when I do strategic discovery of churches or businesses or organizations, is to discover what was it that the founding fathers first did? What did they put in place that we can build on? Because here's the thing, those founders' DNAs, you never lose them. They actually are always there, and it's a matter of finding them and building on them and keeping them alive. The apostolic, of course, carries a reproducing dynamic. And, without that, the pastoral tends towards a replacement model, trying to replace the one that's gone before, whereas the apostolic, I would suggest, has more of a reproductive model. And that's the model we see, of course, in Jacob and in Jesus, who reproduced, as it were, into their 12 sons, and in Jesus' case, into the 12 disciples. And so learning to connect, learning to build on the foundations of others, not building alone, not being lone rangers. One of the most incredible threads of history is that incredible one between the Azusa revival and the Welsh revival, where the Welsh revival had visitors from the Azusa Street revival, and this incredible connection. And in more recent days, and we actually are celebrating it in actual fact today, is the 30th anniversary of the outpouring in Toronto. And that outpouring, it impacted so many people, not least people like Heidi Baker or Leif Hetland, but many, many streams and denominations were connected to what happened there in Toronto. What we need to do is to be very careful in today's world that we do not succumb to individualism, postmodern tribalism, and nationalism, to name but three. If we are not careful, all three will draw us away from the awareness of being part of something bigger than ourselves. They will draw us away from the full understanding, the big picture required for a global and timeless revival and renewal. See, a key to building on the past is to honor the past. And as we honor the past, We honor the apostolic mothers and fathers. And in so doing, this brings life, because you know that when you honor your mothers and fathers, you will have a long life. In other words, it nourishes us. In fact, honor is the key to glory. If we want to grow from glory to glory, then we must learn to honor. And if we want to grow from glory to glory in our generation and on into the next, then we must learn to honor those who have gone before. It's why for those who, in these last 3 sessions where we've done revival, reformation and renaissance, if one of those is something that really jumps off the page to you, so to speak, then I encourage you, study the mothers and fathers of renaissance, revival and reformation or transformation who have gone before. And you, as you honor them, you will yourself grow from glory to glory, and you are building on this foundation that has been laid before us. The apostolic builds on the foundation of others. Your divine purpose is connected to you building on the foundation of others. And I actually believe this year in which I'm recording it is a year where we are going to pursue our inheritance from those who have gone before. So stay tuned for that prophetically. But as I close this session, let's just have a look at the review. I put in the review, read 1 Chronicles 22, 5-19, and just see how David attempted to set Solomon up to take the throne from him. Where have you seen intergenerational building? It actually is one of the challenges that I believe we face today, but I encourage you, read that. And declare, what will you declare about your own role in building on another's foundations? Where do you see that? In your town, your church, your village, your nation? Every nation in Europe for certain, wherever you go, you can find revival history, Reformation history, and Renaissance history. And it's a great opportunity for us to build on that. And reflect, what are the hallmarks of things that last from generation to generation? Look at people around you who have recently taken on new positions. What can you do to help them to succeed in areas where the foundation perhaps was not so well laid? This is a key principle, learning to build on the foundation of others, honoring those who have gone before. And of course, that will lead us to honor those who go after us. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.